Hello again.
Hell,
I'll see you around.
oui.
In the middle of the square was a manhole. I wondered if there might be something relevant beneath street level. I couldn't open it with my bare hands.
Hey, you! What do you think you are doing? Leave that comer alone. Now,
Sorry, no harm intended.
you stay away from that.
In French, English, and German it read, "In 1312, Pope Clement V dissolved the knightly order of the Templars and excommunicated its members on charges of heresy. In the following 2 years, many of the knights were hanged on this site. Their Grand Master, Jacques de Molay, was burnt at the stake on an island in the Seine." A row of old pews, beautifully carved and glowing with polish. I thought of all the people who must have sat here over the decades. All those Parisian derrieres, firm buttocks of the young ladies, the flabby flesh of the old men. That wasn't a pleasing image, so I went back to the young ladies. Whoa! A row of... I thought of all those firm, the flabby... That... Whoa! I didn't have time to sit around. I didn't... A knight, there in the company of his fellows. Biblical references engraved into the tomb edge to guide his way to the next world. I guess. A knight, there... I didn't recognize the biblical story in it. I was a Sunday school dropout. I didn't... A stone knight lay in full stone armor, blank eyes looking at the ceiling. Carrying all that armor around must have been hard work. A stone... A scroll was a symbol of scholarship. I knew that much. A scholarly knight. That rang a bell. A very Spanish bell. A statue of a knight holding a staff and a scroll. The statue had any secrets. It was concealing them pretty well. On the end of the staff was some kind of disc with a cross on it. Around the base of the disc was a hairline crack. Well, I could have just taken the end off the staff, but I wanted to be sure what I'd be getting out of vandalizing a church, other than deported. A statue of a knight holding a staff and a scroll. The statue had any secrets. It was concealing them pretty well. On the end of the staff was some kind of disc with a cross on it. On the end of the staff was some kind... I could see that what had at first seemed to be a fine engraved chasing on the scroll was actually writing. Per disciplinum meum lux videbus. Sounds pretty familiar to me. Per disciplinum. A bit of a stained glass window. Wow! Hoping for a big insight while squinting through a hunk of statuary had been pretty optimistic, I guess. Per disciplinum meum lux videbus. A bit of a stained glass window. Wow! Hoping for a big insight while squinting through a hunk of statuary had been pretty optimistic, I guess. I didn't recognize the biblical story in it. I was a Sunday school dropout. On the end of the statue. I didn't. A knight there in the company of his fellows. I didn't have time to sit around. Per disciplinum meum lux videbus. A bit of a stained glass window. Wow! Hoping for a big insight while squinting through a hunk of statuary had been pretty optimistic, I guess. Hello again.
Hello again, monsieur.
I'll see you around.
Oui.
Hello, George. Oh, by the way, I had a visit from André Lobineau.
Oh yeah. I hope you didn't mind me giving him your address.
Not at all. It was lovely to see him again. He was over the moon when I showed him the manuscript. It's not often he gets that excited. He made a sketch of the knight's crest to take back to the museum. I believe he's identified the family who bear that crest.
I sure hope so. Let's take another look at the manuscript. There's a woman, look, but the A knight with a the knight through my... There's a guy with a... Between them, there's a guy...
Look,
Do you think the assassin was responsible for killing Marquet?
I don't think so. He could have finished him off the first time. Besides, Marquet would have recognized him.
He was pumped to the gills with sedatives. He wouldn't have recognized the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse unless they'd introduced themselves. I'd better get back to the quest. Hi, Andre.
Hello. Hey, I visited Nicole's apartment.
Yeah, she told me you came by.
Ooh, quite a fine Georgie boy. I didn't expect anything quite so sexy.
I hope you're referring to the manuscript.
Oui, of course.
What did you make of the manuscript?
It dates from the time of the Crusades.
We guessed that from the Templar seal.
It's a story and pictures like a modern-day comic book.
What story does the manuscript tell?
I don't know. It was probably produced for the tourist market.
Tourists?
Oh, oui, pilgrims in their thousands on their way to Jerusalem. The tourist trade is nothing new, you know. It's been around for centuries. Ever since Joshua made a packet selling souvenir bricks from the walls of Jericho.
Have you deciphered any of the images on the manuscript?
There's very little I can be sure about. The slang of the bull could be a reference to Mithras.
Who's he?
A Persian god, almost as popular as Christ at one time. The only thing I can be sure of is the knight. He's Spanish.
How can you tell that?
The writing on the shield, the reference to Ave Maria. No self-respecting knight from Northern Europe would have borne a coat of arms like that.
Can you identify the knight's coat of arms?
I already did, Georgie. He's a member of the De Vasconcelos family from the Costa Calida.
Were they famous?
No, they're not mentioned after the 15th century.
Oh.
The spotlight of history moved on. They are probably long dead.
I'd like to shake you by the hand, Andre.
Not now, Georgie.
Thanks for your help.
You're welcome.
No, monsieur.
Okay. Pardon me.
Oui, monsieur?
Do you know anything about the Knights of the Temple? The sign? Yeah. You don't.
No, I owe what little education I gained to my uncle. He was an optician, but he also doubled as the village. He taught me the alphabet. Wait, 19. The bottom row of the chart was too small even for him to read.
Why don't you start over and...
You know, I never thought of... Do you think, if I studied art...
At your age? Thanks... I'm no student of architecture, but the little building looked old. I wondered if it was some sort of summer house. was a crotchety old guy watering the lawn. If this garden was all his own work, he was more capable than he looked. Hi, is this the De Vasconcelos house?
Who wants to know?
I could tell the old coot was going to be trouble. My name's George Stobart. I was wondering whether...
The house is not open to the public.
This is the De Vasconcelos house.
And what business is that of yours, senor?
Look, all I want is to speak to the head of the household.
There is no household. Only the Countess and myself.
Have you got any use for a fistful of plaster?
No.
Do you recognize this man?
No.
I don't suppose this red nose means anything to you, does it?
Ha! El Flojo!
El who?
El Flojo! He is a clown on state television.
Oh, is he any good?
He is as funny as scabies, without the laughs.
Look at this tissue.
It's a tissue with some greasy muck on it.
Yes, that's right. Would you like to shake hands?
I do not think so, senor.
Do you know what this is?
See, I have a similar tool for opening culverts on the estate.
Do you recognize this matchbook?
I don't smoke.
This lab pass mean anything to you?
Nothing.
What do you make of this?
So that's it. You're a salesman.
If I was hawking medical supplies, I can think of better places to hawk them. See this gem? Men have died for it.
Do I look as if I care?
Tell me about the Countess de Vasconcelos.
She doesn't receive guests. That's all you need to know.
You don't even know what I have to talk to her about.
She hasn't won the lottery, has she?
No, she hasn't won the lottery.
A more cunning man might have claimed that she had.
Oh yeah? They might have, might they?
And that more cunning man would have been kicked off the premises. The Countess doesn't do the lottery.
What do you know about the Templars?
Who wants to know?
Are you angling for a bribe or something?
You have nothing that I want, senor, except the pleasure of your absence.
The guy was obviously protecting the Countess against the whole world. But why? I'll be going for now.
Adios, senor.
The main part of the house was old, but nowhere near as old as the gatehouse section.
Hey, you.
Yeah? What is it?
You would not like it if people just wandered into your home, would you?
Well, no, I guess not.
Then show a little consideration.
Okay. Sorry. The hose ran from some sort of utility room all the way to the lawn. I didn't like the idea of carrying 30 yards of hose around me, so I left it alone. I didn't like the idea of...
My hose has stopped.
Yeah?
See, my hose never stops.
Well, I'm sorry to hear it. It's always sad when an old tradition comes to an end.
Did you have anything to do with it?
Well, I'm shocked. I'm mortified. How could you think such a thing?
Very easily, senor. Very easily. I'm going to find out why my hose has stopped. And that means going into the house. You are not, absolutely not, to go in the house. If you do go in the house, I will set the dogs on you.
I could see the gardener trying to figure out what was wrong with the hose. Time for cat-footed stealthiness. There was no way that I wanted to draw attention to myself. I love suits of armor. Who doesn't?
Hey, you on the stairs.
Oops. I know this doesn't look good, but
Look, senor, all I want is a quiet life. A life without mad, house-breaking foreigners in it. Understand?
Look, I just wanted to, use the bathroom.
Leave now, please.
Okay, I'm going.
Hey, you. I know you are there, American. All right, you dogs. I'm coming.
It was a small mirror hanging over the sink. From the scum in the sink, it looked like he shaved there. It was just a little utility room with no exit, unless you counted the window, and I didn't.
Madre Dios, who are you?
My name's George Stobart. I'm sorry to burst in like this.
You must leave at once. You're not wanted here.
Please, if you'd just listen a minute.
Very well. State your business, Senor Stobart.
There's been a series of murders, part of some conspiracy. Anyway, the trail led me here.
Here? There is nothing for the outside world here.
Over 600 years ago there was.
What do you mean?
This whole thing ties in somehow with the Knights Templar.
The Knights Templar are dust.
They had a secret that was so important, they went to a lot of trouble to hide it.
I do not see what this has to do with my family.
Your family had a strong connection with the Templars, right? I believe that they have planted some clues here.
Why should I believe a complete stranger who barges into my home?
Just let me have a look around. If I find nothing...
You'll be spending the night at the police station. Very well. Please, sit down.
Maybe not. That is not a good idea. No way. That is... I know your family is involved with the Templars, but I don't know how.
You should be asking how my family were involved, Senor Stobart. The Templars ceased to exist centuries ago, and as for De Vasconcelos, the line dies with me.
I'm sorry.
Don't be.
Okay, whatever happened almost 700 years ago. So, if the Templars left any clues, they're going to be in stuff that dates back to the early 14th century.
Obviously.
So, what do you have around here that's early medieval?
Early medieval. Let me think. Well, the house is relatively modern, a scant 3 centuries old. Or, of course, the chess set.
That chess set is over 600 years old? It must be worth a fortune.
Indeed it is. Not that I would part with it, of course.
No, I wouldn't either. That's the sort of thing that gets handed down to your children. Sorry.
Its value is less than you might think. The set is not complete. One of the pieces is a modern replacement. As to the original, it was lost a long time ago.
Nobody has any idea where it is?
No. The children had it when they were taken.
Children? What children?
All in good time, Senor Stobart.
May I examine the chess set?
Certainly. But do not move any of the pieces.
Okay, thanks. Close up, the modern piece stood out like a sore thumb. There was something else odd about the set. All of the original pieces had irregular bases.
My lady, I have to warn you, there's a... You! Why, I'll feed you to the dogs.
Lopez, what have I told you about feeding intruders to the dogs?
But, my lady...
Never without my permission. Senor Stobart, if I find that you're wasting my time, you will be fed to the dogs. Now, I want to show you something interesting. Follow me. Lopez, unlock the door, por favor. This is the only remaining structure on the estate contemporary with the Templars.
Nice. What is it, a summer house?
A mausoleum, Senor Stobart.
Oh.
Come with me.
Hey, senor.
Yeah?
I do not know what you have told my lady to be shown these favors, but I do not trust you.
You've got nothing to worry about.
Aren't you coming in?
No, the dead do not interest me. My garden is a living thing. I will be there.
Wow, this is old.
It was constructed in the 13th century as the final resting place for the De Vasconcelos Templars.
It's well maintained.
These are my ancestors, and they deserve respect. I come here at least once a week to say a prayer for them.
Mind if I have a look around?
By all means.
The mausoleum contained 5 tombs for 5 of the Knights Templar, man-size in marble. Hanging from the ceiling was a huge yellowed candle. It looked really old and had never been lit. Hanging from the ceiling was a huge... It looked really old and had never been lit. A big statuette of the Virgin Mary kept an eye on the place. In front of the shrine was a lectern with a Bible on it. In front of the shrine was a... High up in the dome were windows. I guess they might open them to make it less stuffy in there. It was a rod with a cone and a hook on the end. I guessed it was for snuffing out the big candle in the chandelier. I couldn't climb up there without breaking something. Now what? There was nothing to snuff. Feeling like an idiot, I put it down again. Now what? There was nothing to snuff. Feeling like an idiot, I put it down again. May I ask you something?
You may.
Do you recognize this man?
No, I have never seen him before in my life. Who is he?
I've got a couple of names for him, but they're probably false. He's the killer.
No, his face is utterly unfamiliar.
Does this red nose mean anything to you?
No, dear. El Flojo, clown in all important aspects. Apart from the one about being funny.
Does this tissue mean anything to you?
Where is this line of questioning going?
Nowhere helpful. Would you like to shake hands?
A formal bow will suffice.
Do you know what this is?
No, it looks very practical, though.
Does this matchbook mean anything to you?
Club Alamut. Not an establishment that I am familiar with, a young man.
Does this lab pass mean anything to you?
Nothing at all.
Maybe not. Okay, thanks.
Not at all.
On removing the Bible, I found a pattern on the lectern top. Hey! It's a checkerboard! Close up, I could see that the pattern was made up of glass squares over a checkerboard pattern. Close up, over a Close up, over a Now what? Feeling... May I ask you something?
You may.
Who exactly are these people?
My ancestors. These 5 men were all members of the Templars.
5 ancestors in the order. You must be very proud.
Not 5. 6.
Where's the 6th knight?
He was lost to us.
You lost an ancestor?
It is a family matter. It can have no relevance.
Well, it's connected with the curse of the Vasconcelos, isn't it?
Yes, it is. I hope you will honor my desire not to talk about it.
Okay, well, I'll leave it for now. Is the Virgin Mary really the right person to be sharing a mausoleum with 5 knights?
You are showing your ignorance, Senor Stobart. The Templars were dedicated to the Virgin Mary.
You certainly know your history.
What's your opinion of the Templars, Senor Stobart?
The Templars? Well, they seem no worse than a lot of the knightly orders.
You are mistaken. Compared to the simpering politicians of the Hospitallers or the brutish Teutonics, the Knights Templar were the embodiment of chivalry. The filthy, money-grabbing French king and his pet pope did a great wrong. A bane settled upon my family at the whim of that self-seeking tyrant.
It was all a long time ago.
Some things don't die. Injustice is one of them.
What's the story with the glass chessboard?
Glass chessboard. Oh, the pattern on the lectern, purely decorative, I'm sure.
There are pieces of glass missing from it.
Oh, it has been like that since I was a girl.
The gaps in the glass chessboard look awfully deliberate.
No, it is ridiculous. What possible significance can it have?
It's part of a chessboard, and the gaps are for...
Senor Stobart, you cannot mean...
This place was built for the Templars. Your chess set is as old as the Templars. It's kind of suggestive, isn't it? I think this must be it. This is what the manuscript is pointing to.
This is extraordinary. Am I to understand that the Templars left a puzzle here? And in all of this time we failed to realize that there was a puzzle?
It was wonderful to watch the Countess change before my eyes.
Right. Well, no time for wallowing in self-pity, eh, Senor Stobart? This mystery has had a good long run, but it ends here and now.
All those years of fatalism were falling away from her.
Lopez! Lopez! Put that hose down and listen! Go to the house and get my chess set. Yes, the old chess set! Now hurry! My, this is exciting, is it not?
Don't get too excited. This could be a blind alley.
Oh, I do not believe that for a moment.
It's good to see you happy.
Happy? You know, I think I am.
While we're waiting, I'd really like to know what happened here. I mean, the curse and everything?
It all began at the time of the dissolution of the Templars. Don Carlos had already left their ranks to become a scholar.
Don Carlos. Is he the guy who went missing?
Si, but he had reckoned without the local bishop. The bishop envied us our land and determined to use the papal edict as an excuse to destroy us. Don Carlos was on one of his scholarly journeys when the Inquisition arrived. When Don Carlos returned, it was to find his loyal manservant slain and his children gone.
They took the kids? But why?
Oh, we will never know. The bishop denied all knowledge of the children's disappearance. But witnesses had seen his men kill the servant who had been charged to protect them.
What happened to Don Carlos?
He swore he'd find his children if he had to go to the edge of the world. He put on his armor and took up his sword and shield and rode out alone. He was never seen again. Lopez, you have the pieces.
Si, my lady, as you asked.
Por favor, Senor Stobart, would you be so kind?
My lady.
Calm yourself, Lopez. I believe Senor Stobart's motives are pure.
Very well, my lady. My lady seems to trust you.
But you don't.
No, senor.
It fits, Senor Stobart. It fits.
Working quickly, I found which pieces went into which holes.
place, the square bases fit onto the white pieces. I just had to figure out where to place them. Bingo! I mean, checkmate.
Senor Stobart, look!
What is that? It's not the Holy Grail, is it?
No, Senor Stobart. It is the communion chalice of the De Vasconcelos, missing for almost 700 years.
Wow. Well, go on.
I cannot. I can hardly believe it is real.
Go ahead. Live a little.
Are you sure? This is your moment of triumph, Senor Stobart.
Sure, I'm sure. The possibility of death traps only occurred to me a few days later.
So the curse of the De Vasconcelos is lifted?
Oh no, the Countess was thrilled to find the lost chalice, but there's still the riddle of the missing knight.
Well, you can forget about that now and get back to finding the Templar's secret.
Actually, I promised the Countess I'd find Don Carlos.
You what?
I can explain everything.
You have got the odds for a withered old Spanish aristocrat?
The Countess entrusted me with the chalice and the quest for her ancestor's tomb.
You're as crazy as she is. Haven't you got enough problems? Khan and the Templars?
It's all part of the same thing. The chalice is important, I'm sure. The manuscript pointed us to the knight, and I have to find him.
What then?
I don't know. But when the knight and the chalice are reunited, maybe I will. Is there something going on between you and Labano?
What business is it of yours? We agreed all this, the clown, the Templars, strictly business, remember?
Yeah, but
So get off my case.
do you think the assassin was responsible for killing Marquet?
I don't think so. He could have finished. Besides, Marquet would have recognized.
He was pumped to the gill. He would. This is the chalice I discovered in Spain.
I still can't figure out why the Countess gave it to you. After losing it for all those years, she simply gave it away to a total stranger? She's one prawn short of a paella.
The Countess is a fine lady. You shouldn't compare her with seafood.
I wouldn't be surprised if there's something going on between you and that Countess.
Are you serious? She's old enough to be my grandmother. I'd better get back to the quest. Excuse me, officer. What do you know about the knights?
Les Templars. And
Boy, what they teach in...
no, mais
Shouldn't you be off directing
you...
Yeah.
Which...
Yeah, but...
And...
What does this chalice suggest to you?
wine...
I'll see you around.
Oui, monsieur.
A knight, there in the company of his fellows. Biblical references engraved into the tomb edge to guide his way to the next world. I guess. I didn't recognize the biblical story in it. I was a stone knight lay in full stone armor, blank eyes looking at the ceiling. Carrying all that armor around must have been hard work. On the end of the staff was some kind of disc with around the base of the disc was a hairline crack. A scroll was a symbol of scholarship. I knew that much. A scholarly knight. That rang a bell. A very Spanish bell. I could see that what had at first seemed to be a fine per discipline sounds per discipline. A bit of a stain, hoping for a big insight while squinting through a hunk of statuary, had been a statue of a knight. The statue had any secrets. It was... I didn't have time. A row of old pews. I thought of all the people who must have sat here over the... all those Parisian firm buttocks of the young lady. That... Whoa! Somehow it looked more modern than its neighbor. Somehow it... In comparison to its neighbor, it looked pretty plain. In comparison... A stone knight lay at the end of... I wondered if this guy had died in combat. A stone knight lay at the end of a row of 4.
In French, in third, and in the their grand.
Hey! You...
Hello again.
Hello again.
Would you like to...
I stopped myself. Electric... They'd read...
I'll see you around.
Pardon me.
We miss...
Thanks. Hi, Andre.
Hello, Georgie.
What do you make of this cup, Andre?
It's a 14th century communion vessel. Spanish, probably.
Thanks for your help, Andre.
You're welcome.
Sergeant Moo?
Yes.
What do you think of this chalice, Sergeant?
Not much.
It's over 600 years old.
It looks it. I wouldn't drink from that rusty old thing if I was you.
See you later, Sergeant.
Hello, George.
Just how long have you known Labino?
Andre? We met at college. He helped me out when I was a fresher. Showed me around, that sort of thing.
You never told me that before. I thought he was just a working acquaintance.
So he is. I rarely see him these days. You know, he hasn't changed much. A little lesser at the front, perhaps. I'd forgotten how much fun he could be.
Do you think the assassin...
Besides...
He was pumped to the... He wouldn't have recognized... Let's take another... A night scroll bears a through my... There's a guy with a... Between them. There's a guy working on a... There's a woman looking at... But the reflection has...
Look there.
I'd better get back...
Excuse me, officer. What does this chalice...
Wine.
I'll see you... Hello again.
Hell.
Do you know what this...
Aha! You are me.
If you tried... It's plaster...
It.
Have you seen this?
No.
I believe him to...
Oh,
Is that all?
I did wonder if, but it
Look at this gem. What do you...
cut glass.
No, it's not.
What kind?
So, I didn't like to... Do you know what this is?
It's a sewer key.
I'll see you around.
We.
I lifted the cover to reveal what smelt like the entrance to a sewer.
Hi there, remember me?
Huh? Who?
Rather you than me. So,
I take a lot.
oh,
I couldn't open it with my... In the middle of the square, I wondered if there might be something... I didn't... On the end of the staff was some kind of disc with a cross on it. Around the base of the disc was a hairline crack. Well, I could have just taken the end off the staff, but I wanted to be sure what I'd be getting out of vandalizing a church, other than deported. A scroll was a symbol of scholarship. I knew a scholarly knight. That rang a bell. A very...
The case contained the tripod shown on the manuscript.
It is closing time, Monsieur Lobineau.
Already, there just aren't enough hours in the day.
More than enough for me. I can't wait to get home and put my feet up.
Eh bien, see you tomorrow.
Good night, Monsieur.
Quit fooling around, you moron! Get your ass over here and bring that flashlight! What the... Who's there?
Let's get out of here!
And when I woke up, I was at the police station. Luckily, I managed to persuade Rosso I was innocent.
Poor Georges.
What a mess. I bungled the whole thing.
I don't think so. You made a pretty good job of distracting those two crooks.
Yeah, but the killer got away with the tripod.
No, he didn't. He's not the only one who can dress up in costume.
You mean it was you who stole the tripod? Oh, hell, Nico. I could have been shot.
Those dogs are more likely to shoot their own feet.
I just wish you'd told me your plans. We're supposed to be in this together. And how come you dressed up like a pantomime cat?
Don't sulk, Georgie, please.
Oh, rats. And don't call me Georgie.
Oh, I really thought you'd be pleased. After all, we've got the tripod.
I'd better get back to the quest. There was a small crowd of 5 sightseers. It's a weird thing, but you can take the most intelligent people in the world, put them in their vacation duds, and hey presto, they look like morons. Why is that? The juggler was good. Why he couldn't put that kind of application into getting a real job, I had no idea. Maybe he just liked dressing up like a horse's ass. I had no desire to talk to the crowd. Hey, you with the balls.
Oui?
Does this plaster interest you?
Well...
Forget it. Forget that I asked. Have you seen this man before?
No.
Look, a red nose.
How you say? Whoop-de-doo.
Does this grease paint mean anything to you?
It looks like one of mine, or at least another jongleur.
Or a clown?
Mais naturellement, a clown.
Hardly a breakthrough. It didn't seem right to fry somebody's palm when they make their living with their hands. This gadget is a sewer key.
I do not want it, thank you.
Well, I'm not selling it, I just wanted your opinion.
It is hardly my area of expertise.
Does this matchbook mean anything to you?
You smoke.
No, I don't.
In that case, It means nothing to me.
Does this lab pass mean anything to you?
You work in a lab.
No, try again.
You steal lab passes.
No. Well, not as a habit. This was a special case. Does this chalice mean anything to you?
It is very badly designed. I would not wish to drink from such a vessel.
You're not going to get the chance, Buster. Feast your eyes on this.
Incroyable! Is it real?
I think so.
Some people believe that great gems always have curses upon them.
Oh, that's garbage. Although, now that I think about it, both of the people who had this before me disappeared in mysterious circumstances. And the guy who was supposed to get this was shot and then murdered in his hospital bed. Do you want it?
No, thank you.
I've got a medieval tripod.
And my Uncle Claude has hemorrhoids. So what?
How did you learn to be a juggler?
Juggler? What is this juggler?
It's you. You juggle, that makes you a juggler.
No, I am a jongleur.
A jongler? What's that?
Mon Dieu! A jongleur is an artist, a master of the contragravitic aeroballetic mysteries. In centuries past, the courts of the crowned heads of Europe had the jongleurs, witty, erudite men to whom the monarchs turned in their hours of need.
Wait a minute, wait. Let me get this straight. Our enemies are at the borders, plague ravages the land, and the peasants are revolting. Thank God we've got Chuckles the Jongler to throw his balls around. I don't think so. That juggling doesn't look so difficult.
Oh, it does not, does it not? Perhaps you feel you could do better, no?
I'll give it a try.
Be my guest.
I had no idea what I was doing. But this guy was obviously an idiot, so how difficult could it be? A lot more difficult than I thought. That's how difficult. Still, it was my big chance to be derided by complete strangers.
Not so easy after all, is it?
No, I guess not.